History of Bradford. Have you heard that Bradford is steeped in history? The history of this city is irresistibly rich that we just have to find some time to explore it. More importantly though is the fact that a retrospective consideration of this city will give us an insight into why today's Bradford is what it is now once we have an idea of the city's past. More so, regardless of the current situation and raking of the city, good or bad, it has behind it heavily stuffed covetous antiquity. This will increase our appreciation for Bradford. That is why we believe you will enjoy this video dedicated to the history of Bradford. The mention of Bradford will bring to mind the city, metropolitan borough, West Yorkshire Metropolitan County and historic county of Yorkshire in northern England. This city is located west of Leeds in a side valley at the point where a broad ford intersects a small tributary of the River Aire. The borough also encompasses, besides this historic town and built-up area, the towns of Bingley, Ilkley, Keighley and Shipley, and an area of open countryside, including parts of the Wharfedale and Airedale valleys, together with a section of the Pennines. Bradford in Saxon times and Middle Ages. The city got its name Bradford from the Old English brad and ford. This brings to mind Broad Ford, which refers to the point of intersection of the Bradford Beck at Church Bank as mentioned earlier. This is where a settlement grew in Anglo-Saxon times. The city now known as Bradford was then a small area known as Broad Ford and was first settled in Saxon times. There was an uprising in the year 1070 against Norman conquest. This was during the time of William the Conqueror's harrying of the north. A 1086 record, the Domesday Book, documented the location as Bradford. While recounting this account, the location was laid waste after being crushed in the uprising. It then became the manor of Bradford as part of the honour of Pontefract held by the de Lacy family for service to the Conqueror until 1311. In turn, the manor was held by the Earls of Lincoln, John Gaunt, and then the Crown. In 1620, it was passed into private hands. During the Middle Ages. By the Middle Ages, it had grown to become a small town around Kirkgate, Westgate and Ivegate. A fulfilling mill and a soaker mill and a market were bringing the town to the mainstream as a place to mill and market all the manor corn. However, the Wars of Roses caused a decline in the industry. During this time, the residents sided with the House of Lancaster. After Edward IV, a central figure in the Wars of the Roses, granted the right to hold 2 annual fairs, the town began to prosper. This continued till the reign of Henry VIII, when the town has grown to exceed Leeds as a manufacturing centre. Bradford gradually grew to prominence as the woolen trade gained momentum. This became more noticeable during the accession of William and Mary in 1689, when prosperity began to return. The launch of manufacturing early in the next century marked the start of Bradford's development and growth as a town. The new canal constructed and turnpike road links also stimulated trade growth. Bradford and the Industrial Revolution. Early in the 1800s, Bradford was still a small rural market town of about 6,000 inhabitants, with wool spinning as a major trade. There were local cottages and farms. It was a little bigger than Keighley and smaller than Halifax and Huddersfield, while acting as a hub for nearby townships of Manningham, Bowling and Great and Little Horton. As the growth of the wool spinning and cloth weaving industry continued, Bradford had grown in population to about 16,000 people within 3 decades. In 1825, workers' unionism has become firmly established in the town. Thus, it was easy for the Woolcombers' Union to embark on a strike that lasted 5 months. However, the hardship and hunger compelled the workers to call off the strike and return to their work. This brought about the introduction of machine combing. The aftermath of this industrial revolution was rapid growth, with wool imported in vast quantities to be used in the manufacture of worsted cloth, the main area of specialisation of Bradford. By 1841, Bradford had become home to 38 worsted mills, while there were 70 in the whole of the locations currently making up the borough. It was estimated that 2/3 of the wool production in Britain was processed in Bradford. That is why within 10 years, Bradford had been known as the wool capital of the world. This industrial growth resulted in the rapid expansion of the city. Therefore, between 1800 and 1850, Bradford had grown from a rural town among the woods and fields and a mere market to a sprawling town filling the valley sides. This also led to the development of a solid engineering and manufacturing base in the town. A key financial centre that was established there then has continued to flourish ever since. There were as many as 46 coal mines within its boundaries when the municipal borough of Bradford was created in 1847. As the coal output continued to expand, it reached a peak in 1868 when Bradford was responsible for the supply of up to a quarter of all the coal and iron produced in Yorkshire. Its old buildings were giving way to new ones following the continued expansion of the town centre. It was granted city status on June 9, 1897. Lavish Victorian architecture is still much in evidence today. Wool and textile in Bradford. As you can see so far, Bradford thrived so much in the production of wool and textile in the times past. As early as 1311, a fulfilling mill had been established in Bradford. This shows the early importance of the manufacture of wool products. Towards the end of the 1800s, the fine worsted trade followed. The contribution of a major early employer, Titus Salt, was tremendous. In 1833, he took over the running of his father's woolen business, which specialised in fabrics combining alpaca, mohair, cotton and silk. By 1850, Salt had established 5 mills. The environmental pollution and squalid condition were too much for his workers. This forced Salt to leave Bradford. He transferred all his businesses to Salt's mill in nearby Salt Aire in 1850. In 1853, he began to build the workers' village there, which is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. During this century, there was an influx of immigrant merchants from Germany, mainly German Jews. As they became active in city life, the woolen business was stimulated such that Bradford town overtook the other cloth markets at Wakefield and Halifax. Among such merchants was Charles Seaman. This textile merchant and philanthropist developed a productive textile export house in Bradford. And in 1864, he became the first foreign and even Jewish mayor of Bradford. Another one was Jacob Behrens, the first foreign textile merchant in Bradford to export woolen goods. He developed his company into an international multi-million-pound business. As a philanthropist, he was instrumental in the establishment of the city's Chamber of Commerce in 1851. There was also Jacob Moser, a textile merchant and a partner in Edelstein, Moser & Co., the company that developed into a successful Bradford textile export house. As another philanthropist, he founded the Bradford Charity Organisation Society and the City Guild of Help. By the late 19th century, Bradford had emerged as the main wool-buying centre, not only for Yorkshire, but also for England for the entire UK. Fine worsteds, silk, alpaca and velvet cloths were manufactured, and the city was capable of handling wool from overseas and the home markets. After the decline of textile. In recent years, textiles have declined in Bradford, yet the local economy has diversified and is being supported by impressive engineering, banking, financial services, chemical, printing, packaging and export industries. High technology and arts are also making waves. The media industry is also thriving in the city. Bradford has moved with the times, though it retains the skills, quality, resilience and innovation as it has built a world-renowned reputation on these. The city had prepared itself for life after the textile industry. That is why it could cope well and continue to be relevant to date. For instance, early in the 20th century, a large manufacturing base grew up in Bradford to support the town with the provision of textile machinery. Such support had become a basis for the future diversification that is now being witnessed today in the city. Though not the biggest city, Bradford is truly a great repository of history with a lot of character. We've only scratched the surface here. Please, which aspect of Bradford history did you know or that interested you the more? Please tell us in the comments section. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.